Ain't no one holding you. Mom, I'm going to sit with my dad.
Just give us 1 second. We want to make sure we get the projection correct.
It's on stage input. Projector on. That's why the projector wasn't on. You have to turn it on and then put it down. Nice.
On the table. On the table outside.
I got all that ready before I came.
Here we go. Sorry. Appreciate your patience. Welcome to the 21st Annual Central DeWitt High School Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. Let's give Brady Harrington a hand for sharing his talent. My name is Eric Johnson. I'm our Activities Director and will serve as the chairperson for the Hall of Fame. Tonight we will continue our Hall of Fame tradition by inducting 3 individuals, 1 distinguished graduate, 1 friend, 1 teacher, and 1 team into the class of 2023. If we have any former Hall of Fame members in attendance tonight, would you please stand to be recognized? Over the past 21 years of this event, there are 3 groups that have provided financial support for this evening. I'd like to recognize each group and thank them for their ongoing participation. The Central DeWitt Education Foundation. Any members, please stand. Executive Director Brett McKean. Central DeWitt Music Boosters. Again, please stand and recognize with the President, Donna Klosterman. And any members of the Sabre Athletic Boosters, please stand and recognize President Tony McNamara. Please consider getting involved in any of these great organizations. In addition to our financial supporters, the Hall of Fame Committee puts in a great deal of time and energy into the selection process. Each person serves as a volunteer and spends time to screen, critique, and select each induction class. I would like to recognize them, and if any of our committee members are in attendance tonight, please stand as I call your name. The individuals on the 2023 Hall of Fame Committee are Jared Burke, Committee Chairman, Matt Onimus, High School Staff, High School Staff, way in the back, Kathy Dunleavy, High School Staff, Heather Kinney, Hall of Fame past inductee, Todd Kinney, Hall of Fame past inductee, Kurt Kreider, Hall of Fame past inductee, Scott Flegel, community member, Dennis Schnorr, community member, Tim Conlon, community member, Holly Miracle, Music Boosters, Mike Hofer, Athletic Boosters, Kate Howes from The Observer, Mr. Bob Gannon, School Board President, Mr. George Pickup, High School Principal, and Dr. Ann Peterson, our Superintendent. Also a big thank you to Ross Everhart and Kate Howes at The Observer, as well as Ann Sinskin of the Historical Society for all of their help in the process. I would also like to take a minute to personally thank Mr. Kurt Kreider. Some of you may know, I accepted this position towards the end of July. Without Mr. Kreider's help putting everything together that you see, I'm not entirely sure it would have been done. Mr. Kreider has dedicated many hours to this year, especially to make this night special for all the inductees. On page 6 and 7 of your program is the nomination form. We have documented many deserving individuals over the past 21 years and are always doing research to find other potential nominees from both the Central DeWitt and pre-Central eras. When individuals, groups, or teams are nominated, they remain on the list. Each year, our committee will review all nominations for consideration into the Hall of Fame. Thank you for your continued support, and please send us your nominations. You can now now also access our electronic Hall of Fame through the website using the address listed in the back of your program. Now let's induct the class of 2023. Introducing Joe Beck is a former student, Roger Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for this honor. This was an unexpected honor for me. I had Joe as a teacher in the academic year of 1963. Thinking about that, that's 60 years ago. I wasn't a real great student of Mr. Beck, but Mr. Beck had the ability to challenge and encourage the real good students who went on. We know who they are, David Hummers and so on. But he also had the ability to take an average student and you walk away with a lot of good stuff. The other thing I want to say before I read this is that when I look back, the most important people in my life were faculty. I can name them. Mrs. Roseland in 2nd grade, Mrs. Thompson in music, Mrs. Bagley in 6th grade, Dale Gilbert, junior high, Mr. Beck, Mr. Cederock, Mr. Rakes, Marion Shearer, Carol Nicholson. I could go on. But those folks were the most important people in my life. So I'm not going to read about Joe, and I appreciate Mr. Travers for your help with this. Since the inception of the Hall of Fame in 2003, we have asked our inductees to share stories, favorite memories, and significant influences that have helped put them on the path to success. We all know that teachers and staff have the potential to be one of those influencing figures. No teacher's name has come up more often over decades of graduates than this year's inductee, Joe Beck. Often our teachers, coaches, and staff have had a connection to students through activities or extracurricular groups. Mr. Beck exerted his great influence in the purest of all school settings, the classroom. Joe was raised and educated in Linton, North Dakota, graduating high school in 1952. He used to tell us stories about his father, who was a depot agent. He was interested in music, sports, horses, and anything related to the outdoors. He attended North Dakota State University, earning a Bachelor of Science in Math. He did graduate work at the University of Minnesota and Iowa State University, being awarded a National Science Foundation grant. He finished his master's degree in math from Kansas State University in 1967, also being awarded a National Science Foundation grant. He would follow up that degree with an advanced degree in math from the University of Iowa in 1968. All of his coursework was aimed at helping him become a better teacher and ultimately preparing students for math and science-based careers. He began his teaching career teaching math, science, band, and chorus at Isabel High School in South Dakota from 1957 to 1961. Faculty members who later worked with Joe would sometimes hear him share stories of those days at that school and how very different education and parental support was at that time. After a few years there, he and his wife Carol, also a teacher, were ready for a move and added their names to a North Dakota teacher recruitment list. Luckily for our community and generations of our students, Dr. Ash, our school board president at that time, secured a phone interview with Joe, and as they say, the rest is history. Joe and Carol, now with sons Greg and Steve, and the third son, Scott, on the way, made the journey to DeWitt. Joe went on to work the remainder of his career at Central Community, spanning 34 years and 4 decades, from 1961 to 1995. During that time, he taught algebra, pre-calculus, trigonometry, physics, and was on the ground floor for developing a new discipline that has now gone on to dominate our society, computer science. He served as head of our math department and was a junior class sponsor. He was recognized as an Iowa Teacher of the Year in nomination in 1992. Joe was the consummate educator, professional, and a tremendous mentor and role model for students and for fellow new and established educators. Often he could be heard in the teacher's lounge, helping young teachers understand the importance of finance, investments, and retirement planning. Few educators have achieved the level of respect that Mr. Beck has earned, and his influences are now scattered in communities and professions throughout our country. After retirement, Joe continued to teach math at various community colleges and business schools. He loved teaching and worked outside the school day as an adjunct faculty at Mount St. Clair College, the American Institute of Commerce for the Job Corps program, and for Clinton Community College teaching GED classes in the evenings. He has stayed involved in his church. He remains active, he has enjoyed snow skiing, sailing, and other water sports, and flying airplanes. He and Carol enjoy spending time with their children, their spouses, and 5 grandchildren. Please help me welcome the newest member of our High School Hall of Fame, Mr. Joe Beck.
Thank you. I really appreciate this. I consider it quite an honor because it is academic. And I always felt that was my job and my main purpose. I was thinking about, I was supposed to give a short talk, and I was thinking about maybe a short lecture on the definite interval, solid revolution, because I'm more comfortable with that. But I thought I decided on a little history of this school because I lived it, I think. I arrived here in 1961, the first year they consolidated. Almost all new teachers were here, interesting. Some more interesting than others. Great superintendent, Mr. Ekstrand. I always felt that when you looked up superintendent, there should be a picture of Mr. Ekstrand there because of the dignity and professionalism he showed. And we needed that to weather some of the storms in that first year. Some interesting problems arose that first year. When I first drove across Iowa coming out here, I never could figure out what time it was because it seemed like every town would have a different time. Anyway, at that time, every town in Iowa could decide whether they were going to be on daylight savings or not. And so some of the smart people here decided that since we're consolidated, at least the schools in this district ought to have the same time. So they called a meeting in the gymnasium to decide whether we go on daylight saving or not. Well, I told Mr. Cedroff, another new teacher, that we better get down there. This ought to be really fun. And it lived up or down to my expectations. Poor Mr. Extra. Here was a gym full of angry people who kept getting angry as the meeting went on. Lots of statements. Back then, they used to sell daylight saving or say that you got an extra hour of sunlight. So some of my favorite statements were, one person got up and said, we don't need another hour of sunlight. I already got enough sunlight burning up my flowers. Another one had trouble with their chickens, laying, and so on. One thing I have to mention, new teachers, you don't have to do everything your principal tells you. We had all these new teachers here, a lot of single teachers. And Howie, our principal, was a great one. He came up to me and said, Joe, we had one teacher that's late almost every day. So Howie came up and said, Joe, I want you to go over and wake her up every morning at 7 o'clock. And they on 8th Avenue and 5th Street, there were these apartments. And there were stairs that went up from the outside. And so he wanted me to walk up there, wake her up every morning, so she wouldn't be late to school. I said, Aubrey, are you nuts? He said, what? I said, yeah, what? You want me to come walking up, or worse, coming back down again, 7 o'clock in the morning? And my wife and I had to be good live right next to each other. So I did not. Anyway, as I went on in my career, I thought one of the real benefits of teaching was I was in a time warp, because what I looked at never changed. Everybody stayed the same age all the time. 16, 17, 15 years old. That was a real benefit. I enjoyed teaching here. I had really good students. There were a lot of really good faculty members, faculty friends, and so on. So again, thank you. Thank you. It's quite an honor.
Here to introduce Jen Cottle is her brother, Chris.
First of all, I'd like to say it's an honor to be here to introduce my sister. Dad would be very proud tonight, so just want to throw that out there too. 2011 graduate Jen Keitel was as dominant a basketball player as to have ever wore the Sabre purple and gold. She went on to dominate in another purple and gold uniform for the UNI Panthers during her collegiate career. She was an incredible multi-sport athlete who played basketball, softball, track and field, cross country, and soccer. She was a student leader and National Honor Society member. All right, so bear with me, the next part is a lot of numbers, so if I marvel off it, just be prepared. Jen participated in cross country in the fall and shot and discus during track and field. As a junior, she qualified for the state tournament in discus. She was a varsity soccer goalie as a senior. In softball, she was a 4-year varsity starter and 4-time letter winner. Basketball, though, was her dominant sport, where she was a 4-year varsity starter and a 4-time letter winner. As a junior, she scored 14.8 points a game and led the team in scoring with 370 points. As a senior, she scored 14.7 points a game and led the team in rebounds and blocked shots. She ended her career with the all-time program #1 record in rebounds, #2 in blocked shots, and #2 in points scored. She was selected to the Iowa Newspaper Association's First Team All-State, Iowa Girls Coaches Association First Team All-State, and the Des Moines Register First Team All-State. She was co-captain for the All-Eastern Iowa team with teammate Lindsey Smith and nominated as a finalist for the Quad City Times Athlete of the Year. She helped her team earn 2 WAMAC and 2 district titles and was key to the team's appearance at the state tournament and eventual 3A semifinals. Making the all-tournament team, she signed to play at the University of Northern Iowa her junior year. She started 92 of 106 games she played in during her incredible career there. Her college career ended with a career average of 26 minutes a game, 10.2 points a game, 6.5 rebounds a game, 1.67 assists a game, 1 block a game, and half a steal per game. Her career field goal percentage included 49%, her 26% from the three-point line, 75% free throw. Career highs include 28 points, 13 rebounds, 5 blocks, and 5 assists. UNI's overall win-loss record during her career was 94-71, including a regular season NBC Conference Championship and a third-round appearance in the WNIT in 2016. She earned First Team All-Conference and Second Team NBC Scholar Athlete Awards in 2013, and Honorable Mention as All-Conference and Honorable Mention NBC Scholar Athlete Awards again in 2016. She graduated with 2 Bachelor of Arts degrees in Criminology and Psychology with a minor in Politics and Law. From 2016 to 2018, she was a volunteer basketball coach for Wartburg Women's Basketball, helping them achieve a 56-4 record, 2 American River Conference seasons and conference titles, and 2 berths for the NCAA Division III tournament, ending in a Final Four in 2018. She moved to South Dakota to pursue a career in law enforcement and works for the Yankton Police Department for the last 5 years. She was nominated as vice president by her Law Enforcement Academy graduation class and awarded the prestigious Kohler Williams Award. She has become a DARE officer and a patrol training officer and has been named the Employee of the Year for the City of Yankton. In March of 2019, Jen graduated from Upper Iowa University with a master's degree in sports administration with an emphasis in coaching and leadership. She currently resides in Yankton with her fiancé Kayla and dog Nash. Please help me in welcome the newest member of the Central DeWitt High School Hall of Fame 2023 inductee, Jen Kaiser. Also, just a note too, she's never beat me in one-on-one.
I have to state that I do have to adjust this for you. Always been a sibling rivalry between both of us. First off, I'd like to say this is a huge honor to be nominated for this. I want to take the time to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for the consideration for this honor. A huge thanks needs to be given to my former teammates and coaches, starting from a young age with my first travel team, all the way through my St. Joe's playing days, into high school, and then into college. Without the foundation that was set here in DeWitt, I wouldn't have gotten to the places that I was able to go. I will say playing in college was something that I always wanted to do from a young age, and I'm very grateful that I got the opportunity to do so. There are quite a few memories made, some good ones, some bad ones. Bad ones including tearing my ACL and having to rehab. It's never fun. But a lot of positive memories for sure. Next, I would like to thank my family for believing in me from the very start. You guys made a lot of sacrifices, whether it be taking me to travel tournaments, taking away from the other siblings' games, even though you guys always made it a point to be there. I knew I could always look up into the stands and see whether it be my mom, my dad, or other family members with them. It's always good to have family around when you're traveling a lot. I love you all, and I hope I can continue to make you proud now like I did then. To the community members and followers from afar, there were many. May not have always remembered your name right away, but I recognize the face. Again, I wouldn't have been able to be as confident as I was in my abilities in college, in high school, if I didn't have the strong backing from the community like I did. Your support throughout my career in high school, college, and even now, funny thing is I will get Facebook messages from various community members congratulating me, or they'll see a memory pop up from when they come to a game and just talk about how awesome it was to be there and see you play. To share a memory from my time here in DeWitt, there was one specific game that I remember when we were playing DeWitt Waller. I believe it was like the first round of sub-state. The gym was completely packed, standing room only, and if I remember correctly, Coach Kurtz had actually told us he was going to turn the heat up in the gym so that he could sweat and maybe we could get an advantage over the Eagles. I just remember that atmosphere being one amazing atmosphere to be a part of. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, and it's just something that always sticks out in my mind. And I think going into that, we weren't sure if we were going to make it past that round, and we did. And I can just say that the loud applause and the cheering is what got us through it. When it comes to being inducted into this, your past gets you to where you are now. If I didn't have the support from all of you guys, and I didn't come from a community that has such great values coming from Iowa and now living in South Dakota and doing the job that I do as a police officer, I see how grateful and how blessed I am to have come from a great community like DeWitt. The values and ethics that have been instilled in me from not only you guys, my family, and everyone that's been a part of my life has made a difference and has gotten me to where I am today. So with that, I want to say thank you. I want to congratulate everyone else on the Hall of Fame committee, or not Hall of Fame committee, but who's been nominated today. And I'm just very happy and proud that we're all here to experience this together. So, thank you.
Here to introduce Megan Skeffington as her former coach, Kurt Kreider.
First, I want to thank Eric and the school district for letting me continue to be part of this, something I'm passionate about in my position now. If there's a mistake, it's Eric's fault. I can keep doing this, and it's been a lot of fun. Also, congratulate all of our inductees. I have a connection with everybody up here in some way. Top with Joe during my first few years here, and then getting to introduce Megan. She was the first female wrestler I ever coached, and it's come full circle. I'm volunteering, helping Coach Grell with our first ever female wrestling team. So it's been neat to watch that progression. There are a few students who maximize their time in school, more than 1999 graduate Megan Skeffington, PV, and in doing so, set herself up for success later in life. Megan was a natural-born leader who did it all and was outstanding at whatever she did. As a student athlete, she was a volleyball player and a golf letterman on the 1999 state qualifying and co-ed team. She was the 1999 Ann Griffel Iowa Women's Golf Association Scholar. As a freshman, when the wrestling team was urging boys to fill our 103-pound varsity spot, there were no takers. But Megan took on the challenge, and in doing so, became a pioneer of Iowa women's wrestling. A picture of her in the 1995-96 season can be now seen on the front cover of a book called Wrestling Her Story. We have a picture of that. It's really neat to see her in uniform. She earned letters in choir, band, speech, and drama. She was a member of the Iowa Opus Honor Choir, Chamber Singers, a cappella choir, and the school's representative in the Iowa Ambassadors of Music Tour, performing in 7 European countries. She was a bassoonist in the concert band, 3-time drum majorette in marching band, played piano in the jazz band, and was in honor band. She earned state awards in speech and drama and performed in school musicals, plays, and community theater. She was a member of the FFA and a 2-time national creed speaker. She served as a class officer, she was on the student council, a model UN ambassador, youth leadership ambassador, school board representative, and attended the Hugh Bryan Youth Leadership Conference. She was a science club president and a member of the 4-time Science Bowl team champion. Megan was an academic letter winner and a member of the Honor Society. Megan enrolled at Iowa State University in their animal science pre-veterinary program and was on the Dean's List all 3 years. She earned the Dental Doctor Award in 2006 and was a member of the OLP International Honor Society, National Society of Collegiate Scholars, and was an Iowa State Student Union board delegate and veterinary school anatomy and physiology teaching assistant. She earned her doctorate in veterinary medicine in 2006 and became an associate veterinarian in Wisconsin. She has worked as an associate veterinarian, lead veterinarian, or chief of staff at several New York veterinary hospitals while coaching and mentoring developing aspiring veterinarians. She was selected 3 times to the Mars Veterinary National Field Leadership Conference, serving as a speaker, moderator, and committee member for the Western Veterinary Conference, and was a frank communication facilitator. She is currently an index professional service veterinarian covering all of upstate New York, Vermont, and portions of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, providing education to over 1,000 veterinary hospitals. She was elected for a 5-year term as a Victus Group Board of Directors, the leading global provider for hands-on veterinary and human medical continuing education. She has participated in a half marathon to raise money for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, is a certified compassion fatigue professional, and is passionate about creating awareness on suicide prevention in honor of her late sister Jess. On nights and weekends, Megan is an emergency surgeon for the Capital District Veterinary Referral Hospital in Latham, New York. She married her high school sweetheart Wes in 2006 and loves the outdoors, hiking, camping, and gardening with their pups, and traveling around the globe to discover new places and cultures. Please help me welcome the newest member of the Central DeWitt High School Hall of Fame 2023 inductee, Megan Skeffington.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Mr. Kreider. I know I can call you Kurt now, but when you walk into the school walls, whether they're brand new like they are today, you still have that respect for your teachers. So I'm just either thinking about that as a respectful way or having PTSD from when I accidentally fell asleep in your class one time. Woke up to the sound of a banging metal trash can over my head with a ruler. So it's one of those two. Either way, respect there. And for Mr. Johnson, everyone in this room has been the new guy at some point in their life, so you're doing great, and it's really great to see, as always, that this community is supporting our community members as well. When I was asked to say a few words to reflect on my time here at Central, I spent one afternoon on a long commute to New Jersey, thinking about moments and snapshots about community members that have helped me get to where I am at today. When I really think about it, this incredible honor is really not about me. It's about many of you who played such an important role in who I've become. The first stage I ever spoke on was in 1986 at X-Strand. I was asked as a kindergartner to read a poem about Christmas packages. And I remember standing there with the curtain opening and the light shining down on me, and the microphone is about this far off the ground. And the entire crowd just kept talking and talking and talking. And I looked over to my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Hass, just kind of like for guidance, and she said, "Go ahead and start." So I did. And I think about 3 lines into the poem, the crowd did quiet down. But I remember asking her afterwards, why wouldn't they pay attention? She replied, "Some people don't listen when you have something to say, but always be confident with your voice." Similar advice came years later from Dan Smicker, or Smick, who was our FFA advisor, when I was competing for extemporaneous speaking. For those of you who are not familiar with that, it's you get a random topic to speak on and you have like about 15 minutes to prepare your words. His advice to me was, don't just talk. Slow down, think, and he pointed at me looking through his glasses, and actually have something impactful to say. Both of those sets of advice were fantastic to give to a 6-year-old, a 16-year-old, and really anyone for that matter. These past few weeks, many of my colleagues and friends were posting back-to-school pictures, and one of my friend's young sons, I think he's in 1st grade now, has a t-shirt that said, "It doesn't matter how many times you move my seat, I'll talk to everyone." I audibly laughed out loud because I lost countless amounts of recesses for talking too much in class. And although I'm pretty sure it backfired with the elementary teacher's goal for moving me from seat to seat to seat to seat, at least weekly, it really gave me the opportunity to meet and befriend many of my classmates, no matter where they were from, who their family was, or what they looked like. I spoke to 450 veterinarians this morning, and I was nowhere near as nervous as I am right now. I had the dream of becoming a veterinarian at a very young age, and had the amazing opportunity to work with local veterinarians in this community, cleaning kennels, riding along on farm calls, watching surgeries, and countless things that they would allow me to do. I was trusted at a very young age to open a clinic, care for animals, and learn from some of the greatest veterinarians I have ever met. And believe me, I have met thousands of them, and this community should really know what great veterinarians came from here. Coming from a small community, they taught me patience, kindness, resourcefulness, communication, business, medical, and surgical skills that I continue to use every day in my life. Never once did they doubt my intelligence, capabilities, or waver in their trust and support of my career aspirations. I've been fortunate to have mentors such as the late Dr. Bill Spear, Dr. Mark Hilton, and Dr. Troy and Jennifer Stafford for almost 30 years. My love of the science and medicine really took off in high school as the only junior in Mr. Kreider's anatomy and physiology class. We all have that moment in life where a light bulb clicks, where that fire is set inside of you for something that you love. Putting the physical anatomy of animals along with how everything worked with physiology cemented the fact that I wanted to be a surgeon and innovate ways to help animals live longer and better lives. Never did I imagine that one semester of a high school elective to be the catalyst of my entire career. Not only is a veterinarian performing advanced emergency surgeries, but as a scientist now developing diagnostics and artificial intelligence to detect disease months and even years before clinical science. For me, science embraces curiosity of the young mind, and it should not be tempered, but enriched and encouraged. As a veterinarian, I can absolutely tell you that curiosity does not always kill the cat. It's a powerful motivator, leading us to make important discoveries and to explore the unknown. So, Mr. Kreider, thank you for lighting that fire. Now, the right side of my brain possesses the love of music and the arts. And when I think of leadership, I think of my time at Central in these areas. One early fall is the time in my drum majorette years, the marching band, we were struggling with some of our formations for our John Williams performance. I shared with our band director, Ed McMahon, my internal struggles with coaching members to perform their best while not getting anyone mad at me for thinking I was bossing them around. I remember that he said to me, you have a couple of choices that you can make. You can either worry about keeping friends, or we can have the best band in the state. Not sure how many friends I walked away from, but we were #1 in the state that year. Leadership comes in many forms and is not defined by the title that you hold, but the impact that you have bringing on those around you to the next level. I see Ms. Pam Duncan in the back here, and I remember a very distinguished time. We were doing cross-country in the winter, and I was in the locker room probably complaining too loudly that we were going out in the cold. And she pulled me into her office afterwards, and she let me know that people look up to me as a responsible and leader in the class, and how important it was that I maintained a positive attitude of teamwork. And I'm not sure, but either she said the word disappointed, or I just really felt it. No one wants to be mad at them, but you certainly don't want anyone to be disappointed. I was fortunate to grow up with parents that modeled the importance of giving yourself back to your community. And your community can be defined in many ways. But to be able to contribute knowledge and skill, as well as time and resources that you can as an individual best to provide to others. They always said, make a difference and leave everything better from when you found it. From a very young age, my sisters and I were taught to be independent and try to use resources to solve our problems on our own, before coming to them and complaining or wanting it done for us. We were shown to take challenges and setbacks in life not as failures or to become victims, but to dust ourselves off and see them as opportunities to learn and grow. It may appear as tough for some, but that independence and resilience came with guidance and is the greatest gift I could have asked for. Finally, and certainly not least, is my amazing partner in life, my husband, Wes, who, if I would have known, was going to be my favorite human on the planet. I would have definitely acted differently when I went over to him on my freshman and his sophomore homecoming floats, and I did not have enough staplers to put the chicken wire on our ear rack. And I went over and asked him, and probably batted my eyes once or twice, to see if I could borrow a couple of staplers. But of course, that was the beginning of the end, and we've been together ever since. He's not with us tonight because he's home taking care of our 5-month-old puppy, but he definitely is here in spirit. These are just a few examples of how words, actions, observations on every individual part can have a tremendous impact on young people in this community. It's really true that it takes a village, and you all are part of it for the generations to come. Continue to strive to be the person that someday a student stands up here and looks on in a moment, or an interaction that positively changed their lives forever. Thank you to the Hall of Fame Induction Committee, to my fellow nominees, and thank you for such a wonderful community to come back to.
Here to introduce Mary Reuter is Christine Gilroy.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I'm so honored to give the introductory remarks for Mary Reuter's induction into the Hall of Fame based on her outstanding contributions as a friend of Central DeWitt High School. Mary Reuter has been an invaluable member of the Central DeWitt High School family for more than 50 years. She is best known as the Observer's editor and general manager emeritus after her 41 years at the helm of the Observer. Mary is no stranger to a Hall of Fame. She has been inducted into the Clinton County Fair Hall of Fame for producing more than 25 years of special issues dedicated to the annual fair. Mary was directly involved with the student newspaper here at Central DeWitt for more than 20 years. As visible as Mary was in our community, it was many of her accomplishments behind the scenes that had impact. She was part of organizing the Central DeWitt Schools parent-teacher organization, as well as being part of the start of the Central DeWitt Actor-Prom Committee, which gives away a pretty nice card to a senior every year. She's a co-founder of the Central Community Education Foundation. Imagine being at the beginning of these organizations and seeing all the great things they have done for children of this community over the years. Mary began the Parrot Press, a summer workshop at the Observer office for middle school student journalists. Mary was a driving force behind the Lunch Buddy program at Extrand Elementary School here in DeWitt. She was an inaugural member of the DeWitt Community Hospital Foundation, and she is chair of the Pink for the Cure committee that acquired digital mammography equipment for the hospital. Mary spent 16 years on the Mississippi Bend Area Educational Agency Board of Directors. She is president and board member of the DeWitt Theater Company and worked on not one, but 2 renovations of the Opera House. Mary has been a past president of the DeWitt Chamber of Commerce and a member of the DeWitt Chamber and Development Committee. Mary also sat on the board of directors for the Central DeWitt Performing Arts Center, right where we are here. She's a past president of the DeWitt Nude Lions and delivered the proclamation to our sister city of Brettstedt, Germany, which resulted in acquiring the house iron uptown. Mary also was the founder of Boom, a philanthropic women's organization. Last but not least, Mary is a member of the Friends of the DeWitt Community Library. Mary's accomplishments do not end where Clinton County ends. She is recognized as a master publisher by the Iowa Newspaper Association. Mary was named Iowan of the Day for the 2019 Iowa State Fair. Iowa Presswomen and the National Federation of Presswomen both named her a Communicator of Achievement. Mary has been honored with the Distinguished Service Award by the Iowa Newspaper Association, and she is a past president of the Iowa Newspaper Foundation. Mary has also received the National Epic Award from the American Society of Newspaper Editors. She was appointed by the governor to the Iowa Ethics and Campaign Finance Disclosure Board, serving 2 terms. I also have another achievement that I found out from Mary from visiting with her last week, and that is she is a champion, state champion archer. So, I offer that to you all. In retirement, Mary has spent more than 8 years as a court-appointed special advocate for children with the Child Advocacy Board, continuing her dedication to helping our county's children. Mary and her late husband, Al, raised 4 wonderful children, all of whom attended Central DeWitt schools. She's always enjoying her 7 grandchildren and 2 bonus grandchildren. Please help me welcome the newest member of the Central DeWitt High School Hall of Fame, 2023 inductee, Mary Ruder.
I feel like I've died and gone to heaven, and I just wasn't going to obituary. And thank you, Christine. It's such an honor and a pleasure for me to stand here with the other inductees this evening. And I congratulate each of you on your selection. I need to confess that as one of the senior members of this induction class, I have been watching all of you excel for many years. I had the pleasure of seeing you in action when you were in high school, and have followed many of you ever since. Even Mr. Beck, with whom I had several parent-teacher conferences and other conversations over the years. I'm proud to accept this wonderful recognition. It is incredibly humbling, but I think it's more appropriately should be shared with my family. All of us, now 3 generations, have been Central students since 1972. It was then that Al Ruder and I made a very deliberate decision to move to DeWitt, in large part because of the amenities the community offered, but more especially because of the school system, which even 50-plus years ago had a great reputation. Our daughter Tris started kindergarten that year, as in turn did her brothers David, Matthew, and Kyle. Our granddaughter Allison is a 2017 Central grad. Over the years, we've had opportunities to celebrate their accomplishments in academics, athletics, fine arts, FFA, and much more. Al was involved as the voice of Sabre football, a basketball timekeeper, a sidelines and locker room cheerleader, and a member of the Sabre Boosters for many, many years. I found my niche in PTO, the Ed Foundation, the After Prom event, the Bob Parrott Journalism Institute, known as the Parrott Press, and the Central DeWitt Performing Arts Center. I was also an active member of the booster clubs for fine arts, FFA, and athletics, and a supporter and promoter of bond issues. We're enjoying this beautiful auditorium tonight because we persisted through 10 attempts to pass the referendum that finally made it possible. My involvement with the school district has given my life meaning and purpose, activities to keep me busy, and an opportunity to be supportive of the awesome students and staff here at Central DeWitt. It's given me a chance to do something that I absolutely love, which is to watch young people succeed at whatever their area of interest or talent is. In large part, I believe I'm being honored tonight for my career at the Observer, and I will always be be grateful to Bob Parrott for the opportunities I had there to help showcase so much that is extraordinary about the Central community. Among them was publication of the high school newspaper, The Purple Onion, which appeared within the pages of the Observer for many years, giving young journalists an arena in which to show off their work. I'm grateful to the selection committee and to my long ago colleague at the Observer, Christine DeWitt. She did a yeoman's job of investigative reporting in the course of submitting my nomination. And as she mentioned, I think the only thing she failed to turn up about me in her search was that I was the 1967 Women's State Archery champion in Wisconsin. Thanks also to my dear friend Bill Homerhausen for endorsing Christine's all-encompassing letter, to my family, extended family, and friends for their love and support in all the seasons of my life, and to all of you for coming here tonight. Thanks so much for this trip down memory lane. I truly am blessed, and I thank you all.
Introducing Lindsay May. Is her former softball coach, Kevin Rowley.
I feel like I have to start off by just congratulating one of the players also, and apologizing to Lindsay. Her presenter doesn't have the mustache. I want to tell you guys that my story with Lindsay goes back about 40 years. And I know you're saying that Lindsay isn't 40 years old, but about 40 years ago I stood in the gym at Cascade High School. I watched a very tall young lady playing volleyball, and I was in junior high. And I thought, she's pretty good. Well, that's Lindsay's mom. We are both graduates of Cascade High School and alumni of there. So I feel like there's some special history, I guess, that is amongst us. And now I am honored to have the privilege to present one of the greatest all-around athletes and quality individuals the school has ever seen. I just want to say how humbled and honored I am to introduce Lindsay tonight. Lindsay Knake will be inducted tonight for her outstanding contributions as an individual at Central DeWitt High School. One of the most accomplished multi-sport athletes in Sabre history is 2011 graduate Lindsay Smith. I can't believe I'm that old. Because of her dominance, she was recognized as a 2011 Quad City Times Female Athlete of the Year, being only the second Sabre to ever earn this prestigious award. During her high school athletic career, she earned an incredible 17 varsity letters while competing in cross country, basketball, track and field, and softball. She was also an outstanding student and leader and volunteered in the Special Olympics and Best Buddy programs and was a football statistician. She was a member of the National Honor Society. Lindsay ran cross country and was often the program's top female fisher during meets, earning honorable mention all WALMAC honors in 2009. She was an outstanding softball shortstop and was selected as a 4-time all-conference and all-state player. And being her coach, I want to tell you, it would have been 5 years had she not got hurt. She excelled as a track athlete and was a 9-time state qualifier. She placed 3rd in the 400-meter hurdles during her junior year and still holds the all-time program record in that event at 1 minute, 5 seconds, and 79 hundredths of a second. She is also part of the #1 program records for the 30 and 33-inch shuttle hurdle relay teams. As a member of 4 other relay teams that hold top 10 records. Basketball, though, was her signature sport. Playing for Mark Kurtz, she excelled even as a freshman. She was the first ever freshman player to earn a first-team All-Walmart selection, which was a unanimous selection. That season, she would lead her team in scoring, 14.9 points per game, steals 42, and three-point shots 23. Her senior year, she helped lead the team to the 3A semifinals in a quarterfinal win against Mock Floyd Valley, in which she would tear her ACL. That would greatly hamper a drive to the state title. During her career, she would go on to earn 4 first-team All-Walmart selections, 4 Class 3A All-State selections, including 3 first-team honors. She was a 3-time team captain, helping her team earn 2 Walmart and 2 district titles. She became the program's all-time leading scorer with 1,457 points, and at graduation also held career records for assists, steals, and three-point field goals. She was selected to play in the IBCA Elite All-Star Game and was a member of Iowa's 17U state championship team. She was honored as a McDonald's All-American nominee. She signed to play Division I basketball at the University of Wisconsin, and while she still rehabbed her knee, she played in 26 games that freshman year with 2 starts, one of which was against Iowa. She transferred to Illinois State during her sophomore year, where she continued to deal with several injuries before ultimately deciding to finish her career at St. Ambrose University. During her final season, she helped the Queen Bees to a CCAC runner-up finish and a berth in the NAIA National Tournament. Lindsay was recognized as an all-conference selection. During her college career, she was also involved in Student Athlete Advisory Committee, Jack Norris Leadership Academy, and volunteered for Big Brothers Big Sisters. She received her degree in psychology from St. Ambrose and her master's in organizational leadership from Goodwin University last spring. She has spent the last 7 years coaching college basketball at Cornell College in Mount Vernon, where she has previously served as the senior woman administrator and assistant athletic director. She met her husband Ben, a Cornell graduate and football player, and they were married in June of 2021. They had their first child, Jet, in August of 2022. Their family also includes their dog, Ellie. She is currently working in HR for Elite Stone Fabrications, and she plans to continue to assist with the women's basketball program at Cornell. She is still an active runner and runs 5Ks and half marathons to fuel her competitive fight. I just want to say one thing to Lindsay yet. We had this special little saying when she played for me. Lindsay played as an 8th grader all the way through her junior year. But when she was an 8th grader, Lindsay came in with a big challenge in front of her. She was an 8th grader, playing with a lot of seniors. She'd make mistakes, but we had this saying that's always said, if you make a mistake, let it in the past. Move forward, make the next best play. I'm going to tell you, if there's one person that has done that in her life, that's Lindsay King. I would want to welcome you to hear from our newest inductee, Lindsay King.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here tonight and to be joining a group of so many incredible people in the Hall of Fame. The only problem with being inducted in the Hall of Fame is I think this officially makes it old. I'm not quite 40 yet, but I'm coming dangerously close. First and foremost, I need to thank a few people who made my high school athletic experience so memorable. Coach Rowling, my softball coach, who always believed in me and whose unconditional support for me did not stop after I graduated. Coach Olson, my track and cross country coach, who challenged me and went along with my weird superstitions before races, one of which was giving me a calculus lesson before each race my senior year. And Coach Kurtz, my basketball coach, who is currently sitting on a beach in Hawaii right now, and who helped me become the coach I am and continues to be a friend and positive influence in my life. I also want to thank my parents for all the love and support they gave me and the sacrifices they made to allow me to be so active in athletics growing up. And for my brothers Tyler and AJ for cheering me on and also challenging me. I still remember a lot of fights in the driveway after games of one-on-one ended in someone getting a bloody nose, usually because I called a travel on AJ. But they both showed endless support through my career, even when they couldn't be at many games. And lastly, high school sports would not be as special without wonderful teammates. Being a four-sport athlete, my friend group largely depended on what sport I was in. And I think I was pretty lucky that each sport allowed me to get to know and develop relationships with different people, and many of those teammates have turned into lifelong friends. When I was going through the college recruiting process as a high school sophomore and junior, I remember coaches asking me what I was looking for in a basketball program. My first answer would always be, I want to win. I took high school sports very seriously, sometimes too seriously. I don't think I smiled much on the court, track, or field, and there were often tears after a loss or poor performance. I had a pretty successful athletic career in high school, especially with basketball, and I wanted to go somewhere where I could be just as successful and be a part of a program that had a chance to win championships. Winning was fun for me, just like it is for every competitor, and that success was the driving force for my hard work. However, my college career did not go as planned. As you all probably know, I tore my ACL at the state tournament my senior year, and this injury changed my entire basketball future. I will spare you the details of my extensive surgical history, but over the next 5 years, I've played at 3 colleges, under 5 different coaching staffs, had 5 surgeries during that time. In addition to my ACL, I had surgery on both hips, surgery to repair torn ab muscles, and another knee surgery on meniscus tear. I didn't go back into the archives to look at the stats, but I think I sat out of more games in my college career than I actually got to play in. On top of that, my teams were not very good my first 4 years of college. Remember how I said the #1 thing for me was winning? Well, we didn't do a lot of that. There was not a lot of that happening, and 1 year at Illinois State, we were the last Division I school in the country to get a win. We lost the first 18 games that year. So I did not have a lot of fun. I had to work so hard to rehab from my injuries to be healthy enough to play, but the situation I was coming back to was not enjoyable. I put a lot of value into winning, and much of my happiness depended on that. So when the winning wasn't happening, I wasn't having fun playing. And all the work I was putting into basketball wasn't worth it if I wasn't going to enjoy it. For my 5th year, I decided to transfer to St. Ambrose, and I was able to play my last season close to home. I only missed 4 games that year due to injuries, and I ended my playing career at the national tournament. I was even fortunate enough to be coached by Coach Kurtz again for that season. It wasn't the college career that I dreamed of, but it made me a better coach and a better person. Now, after coaching college basketball for 7 years, I think back to my 16-year-old self going through the recruiting process. That competitive edge I had, the drive and the fire I played with made me as good as I was, but I have a much better perspective now on what is most important. It's the friendships, lessons, and experiences that athletics provide. I couldn't tell you the score to any of my games in high school. I don't remember what our record was each year or how many points I scored on a particular night. I do remember having 6 turnovers though at Makokata my senior year, and I'm sure Coach Kurtz does too, because that number still haunts me. What I also remember is every word to the Raisins song we sang after track meets. I still tell myself the faster you run, the faster you're done, while I'm running road races, because that's what we would say as we huddled as a cross-country road race. When I see an orange, it reminds me of one of my basketball teammates in the grade below me, always saying the joke, "Aren't you glad it's game day?" when we were getting ready for the game. And the song Big Girls Don't Cry by Fergie will always take me back to the summer before my freshman year, playing varsity softball with the best senior leaders and friends. If I could have coached before I was a player, I think I would have enjoyed it more, because I would have valued the other things in addition to trying to win. I don't regret the decisions I made on which colleges to attend, and I don't wish it would have gone any differently, because those experiences made me who I am and gave me the life I have now, with a wonderful husband that I met through coaching, the cutest little 1-year-old boy who's kind of distracting when he's back there trying to hear his echo in the hallway, and just a little bit of arthritis. I'm forever thankful for my experiences as a saber athlete, for all the hardships I endured, the lessons I learned, and the relationships that formed out of each sport. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you.
Here to introduce Ryan Swanson is his uncle, Lee Swanson.
Thank you. Congratulations to everybody out here. What a great honor this is. And for me, what an honor to stand here today and introduce my nephew. So, what a day. Ryan was an imposing high school multi-sport athlete. You can certainly back it up during competition. He was outstanding in all his sports, visiting football, unfortunately basketball, as Coach Brett, I think, with respect to wrestling. And track. He was a two-time letterman in basketball, and as a junior was named honorable mention all conference on a team that finished 15-5 and won a Big Ben championship playing for Hall of Fame coach Neil Padgett. He earned a second-team all-conference honor as a senior. In track and field, he didn't wait so long to make an impact, improving his shot put distance an incredible 11 feet from the start of the season. His throw of 49.7 would bring him to the Big Ben shot champion as a freshman. He would repeat as a Big Ben champion as a sophomore on a team that won 8 of their 10 meets, including the Big Ben championship. That season, he would also qualify for state in discus. He was selected as team captain as a junior, and in his senior year qualified for drag in discus, placing 10th. He qualified for state in both shot and discus, placing 13th in the shot and 3rd in the discus. As a football player, he was a dominating force on every unit, offense, defense, and special teams. He was moved up to varsity level as a sophomore and was a punching sensation. But even as a young player, in the middle of a defense, as a sophomore, he led the team in tackles. Unfortunately, that team ended up 1-8 that year. The following year, they would make a huge turnaround. They went 7-2, just missing the playoffs. He was named the defensive captain for the Observer All-Area team and was a unanimous pick as Big Ben Player of the Year. He earned first team All-District, first team All-Eastern Iowa, third team Iowa Newspaper Association All-State recognition as a punter. As a senior, he led the 1999 Purple Rain team to the 3A state quarterfinals with an 8-3 record under Hall of Fame coach DeWitt. He was recognized as preseason All-State selection. He again was the Observer All-Area captain, unanimous pick as Big Ben Player of the Year. He was also recognized as first-team All-District linebacker, first-team punter. He was the Clinton Herald Defensive Player of the Year, and All-Eastern Iowa first-team defensive player. He earned first-team Iowa Newspaper All-State and Des Moines Register first-team linebacker, and All-Elite and All-State team honors. He finished his career as a 3-year starter and a 3-time letterman, and still holds the program records for the longest punt of 80 yards, which is currently 6th best all-time in the state. He is also first all-time for solo tackles in a game, 15, 5th all-time for solo tackles in the season, 44, 2nd all-time for assisted tackles in the season, 103, 2nd all-time for total tackles this season, 147, 1st all-time for tackles for a loss in a season, 17, 3rd for solo tackles in a career, 88, 1st for assisted tackles in a career, 162, 4th for tackles for a loss in a career, 19, and 1st for total tackles, 340. He was invited to play in the 2000 Shrine Bowl, and he went on to play college football for Iowa Central and Wolf. In high school, Ryan qualified for the International Bow Hunting Organization World Competition, and as an adult, he has stayed active in the outdoors. Currently, he owns and manages properties, farms, owns a bank pole business, Cat Daddy, and works at Twin State Engineering in Durant. He volunteers yearly at the county fair and for the Adopt a Highway program. He and his wife Allison have 2 children, Rayleigh and Calvin. Please help me welcome the newest member of the Central DeWitt High School Hall of Fame, Ryan Swan.
I thought I was going to struggle, but I think we're going to struggle more than I was. So, first, when we got the call, anxiety, I gave a speech, I don't know what to say. As many of you know, I was not that great at school, so laid off my speech until this week. So, pardon me if I ramble and carry on. I'm not really that good at giving speeches.
You're doing great.
Thank you. First of all, thank my parents, past and present, for supporting me in everything. My dad and Mary, they went to every single one of my games, even when I went to college, no matter how far. My mom and Mark, same thing. They traveled wherever I went just to watch me play. And I told my mom several times she doesn't have to go, but she always did. And without them, that wouldn't be possible. So first, I'd like to thank Coach Zimmer. He was my track coach. Coach Zim was a very lighthearted guy, very funny. He could connect with his athletes very well. He'd make fun of us a lot. But he's very smart. He's probably, honestly, the most smartest coach that I had growing up. I'd also like to thank Coach Rygans and Coach Fletch, my throwing coaches. They're a big reason why I was shot put champ as a freshman, as a sophomore, and then Fletch came back and helped me as a senior, finished 3rd in state. I wish I could have had those two around my whole high school career. Who knows what we could have done together. Coach Padgett. Coach Padgett was probably the most intense guy, coach you would ever see. A lot of times you have to do it perfect. Practice would last 3 hours a lot of times just because we did not get it right. But his assistant was Coach Smith, and he was very much personable with the players. He would take people aside and help them a lot. He helped me a lot, so I'd like to thank him. Then my senior year, Coach Pickup was the head coach, and I didn't like him right away, to be honest. We butted heads a lot. I think what happened was I was going to go deer hunting for shotguns one year. We had a game that Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember, and I was a starter for 2 years, and he set me on the bench for most of the game. I did not like him after that. But as the season went on, me and Coach Pickup developed a bond, a mutual respect for each other that even today when I see him, we always shake hands and say hi. So thank you, Coach Pickup. And we're going to football. Coach Kreider. So I got a funny story about Coach Kreider. I always thought he didn't like me very much, to be honest, because I didn't wrestle, as Lee brought up. So funny story, Usually on days after a game, on Saturdays, we would meet in the wrestling room and watch tape. Well, one Saturday after a game, coach didn't have the tape. And I'm like, oh, my Uncle Johnny, he lives right down the street. Let me go get the tape from him and we can watch the game. So, me thinking like, oh, I led team tackles this week. Coach is gonna pump me up, right? Wrong. It was an hour-long session of coach telling me what I did wrong. And I always thought he hated me back then, but I think, looking back at it now, I think Coach Kreider just, he knew what I was capable of, and I didn't see it myself, but he saw it. So thank you, Coach Kreider. So we go to Coach Spangler. When I was roughly I played Rising Knights in 6th and 7th grade in Assumption, and I ended up getting a letter from them to come down and play for Assumption. So I want to say, going into my freshman year, Coach Spangler, as you know, each year you have to get a physical. So Coach Spangler was one of the guys there that was directing kids to go to get your physicals, and you go to Swanee. I'm like, I've never taught Coach Spangler ever in my life. He goes, you're not going to go play Assumption, are you? Like, no, Coach. No. But anyways, Coach Spangler is like the epitome of a head coach. Honestly, there's no other man in the world I respect more than Coach Spangler. He is just a great guy. Funny story about Coach Spangler too. So when I was a sophomore, we were not very good. So one night for practice, I think it was a Tuesday night, we had to play JV. We had to play 1 quarter offense, 1 quarter defense. That was our practice then. Well, sometime during that night, I pulled a muscle, and it was so happened to be, felt like my butt muscle. So I'm walking around school the next day with my toes up. So I get to practice, or a locker room after school that night, and there's a folding table in the middle of the locker room. The fresh off the varsity, the track team, or the cross-country team getting ready, and there was a big jar of icy hot. I seen Coach Spangler come out of the office with a glove on. He says, Swanson, how you doing? I'm like, I'm not that good, Coach. I don't know, you know. It hurts. Get over here and drop your drawers. So needless to say, I had to walk over to the middle of the locker room in front of 70-ish dudes and put my butt cheeks out so Coach could rub my butt with ice time. That was pretty embarrassing. Next day, Coach is like, how's that butt doing, Swanson? I said, oh, real good, Coach. But all I ever wanted to do, ever since the time I was at a young age, was lace up for the Sabres. My grandpa and grandma, Swanson, would take me to watch the league. They would take me to his wrestling meetings. They would take me to his football games. At a big young age, that's all I wanted to do, was play football for good. I loved it so much it was almost to a fault. You couldn't get me off the football field if you had to. I played through broken fingers, broken hand. I played all of my sophomore year with a broken hand. Played through dislocated shoulders, torn MCL, torn meniscus, ankle sprains, I remember my junior year, I don't know what I did to my shoulder, but I was in a lot of pain. And I want to say it was like a week before we played in Coconut, before we would go to state. If we would beat Coconut, we would go to state. And me and my mom went to a doctor in town, and we asked him, I can't remember if it was a cortisone shot, a numbing shot, or what. If he would give me the shot before the game. And he said, no, you're not playing for the Super Bowl, Ryan. Why do you want this shot? And for me, that was the Super Bowl. All I wanted to do was play for it. I would have gave anything to get that shot. But those injuries were just through my high school games. So it was very fitting in my final college football game. I intercepted the pass. I ended up getting tackled. I ended up breaking my tibia and fibia, dislocated my ankle, and my Achilles was on the top side of my foot. And I could no longer play. Finally had an injury that was impossible for me to play through. And I was done. The way I look at it now, it was a sign from the powers that be, enough was enough. And I don't know if that would have happened, I would have kept playing, because I just love football so much. So looking at the scrapbooks and college letters I received, talking to my old coaches this week, are pieces of me that I buried in the past. There was nothing more that I wanted. Just play football with Sabres. So when that was gone, it was very hard for me to move on. I lost my identity. I didn't know who I was. It took me many years to recover from it. Luckily, I ran into my wife. We got married. She gave me 2 beautiful children. I cannot change the past, but I can move forward. Thank you, the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, for making me face my past. You've helped me lift a big burden off my back, something that I cannot accept. Once a Sabre, always a Sabre. Thank you.
Introducing the 1974 state champion distance medley team is Denny McClymon's brother, Tim McClymon.
As you probably know, I'm on the Hall of Fame committee that recused myself from voting on this. 1974 Class 3A Championship Mile Medley team has held the school record for this event for 49 years and counting. In 73, teammates Roger Gertis, Wade Neiman, Ed Melminger, and Joel Muller would win the Mile Medley State Championship. In 74, my brother Denny would replace Melminger, and the team would set a new record several times during the season, and again finish with a state title. The Mile Medley won the opening triangular at the very first Sabre relay setting a new school record. At the Drake relays, they ran the second best time in the prelims, losing to Davenport Central, which set a new record, but they were disqualified in the finals. They won again at the prestigious Gateway Classic just prior to the district meeting, in which they placed second and qualified for state, with only Wade Neiman running on that quartet. At the state meet with Roger Curtis and Dayton McClyman running the 220 legs, Wade Neiman running the 440, and high school track phenom Joel Moeller running the 880, they would set a new Class A record of 3 minutes 33.9 seconds, surpassing the old mark by 2 seconds to win the state championship. Roger Curtis was the first leg of the race and a 4-sport letterman. In football, he was a prep All-American quarterback and safety on the 1973 Class 3A football state runner-up team. He was all-Iowa offense and defense and first team All-Eastern Iowa. He was a 3-year track participant and ran on the 73 and 74 state championship mile medley relay teams. He was active in chorus, chamber singers, musicals, and the National Honor Society. He went on to play football at Augustana and was a 3-time letterman on teams that won the CCIW Conference Championship and qualified for NC Division III playoffs. He majored in math, computer science, and had a 4-year career in IT with the On Company, Auto Mutual Insurance, and Deere & Company. He eventually returned to DeWitt with his wife Mary Jean Monroe, also a Central alum, and raised and coached their 3 kids, Sean, Patrick, and Ryan. They moved to Davenport 4 years ago. Danny McClyman was the second leg of the race in a 2-sport state run, concentrating on football and track and field. He was a halfback specialist in the 73 Class 3A football runner-up team. In the semifinal Class 3A football game against Atlantic, Danny scored the winning touchdown at the closing of the game, securing a trip to the state championship. In addition to being the second leg of the mile medley team, he was an excellent pole vaulter, winning many meets throughout his junior and senior years. After graduating from Central, Denny enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps, served 2 years, and earned the rank of corporal. He then enrolled at Northeast Missouri State, which is now Truman State, for the 76-77 school year, and was on the varsity diving and rugby teams. He unfortunately died in a car accident November 7, 1977. Wade was the third leg of the mile relay team. He was an outstanding basketball player, being named the team's MVP after leading the team in scoring and rebounding his senior year. He was also a member of the FFA. After graduation, he attended Iowa State's Winter Agriculture Program in 75 and 76, with the goal of continuing on his father's farming operation. But his career aspirations shifted when he began a 36-year career at ADM. Wade was promoted throughout the organization's supply chain departments and ultimately promoted to shift superintendent in 1999. In 2016, he retired and was once again back on the family farm with his 2 nephews and his son Ben. Wade married his high school sweetheart, Patricia Garcia, in 1984, and together they raised 5 children, Christina, Alexandra, Michael, Ben, and Lena. Joel Mueller was the 4th leg of the race and a 3-sport athlete and a 2007 Hall of Fame inductee. He was selected as an All-State receiver and first-team All-Iowa offense and defense in football and played on the 73 Class 3A state runner-up team. He was All-State track in 73 and 74. Joel was also involved in chorus, musicals, and National Honor Society. Joel earned a track scholarship at the University of Iowa and was a 1,000-yard Big Ten champion and first-team All-American. He still holds Hawkeye records today. Joel earned his MS and master's degrees from Iowa and an educational specialist degree from Western Illinois University. His 38-year career in education includes 11 years teaching and coaching, 3 years as an elementary middle school principal, 17 years as elementary principal, and 7 years as an associate superintendent. Joel married his high school sweetheart, Maureen Burke, and they have 3 sons, Devin, Brian, and Andy. They are retired and live in Arizona. Coaches for the 74 boys track team were head coach Harold Gurney, Coach Dwight Spangler, and Coach Gene Castle. Please help me welcome the newest members of the Central DeWitt High School Hall of Fame. 1974 Boys Distant Medley State Champion Relay Team. Roger Gertis, Danny McClyman, Wade Neiman, and Joel Bolton.
Hi, I'm going to start off tonight with a wee routine, the way I'm anchored, but I'm going to be first. First of all, I'd like to thank Tim, Steve, and Joellen for representing one of our teammates, Denny, who was, we just love the guy. It's too bad that his life was taken at such an early age, but memories live on, and we think about him every day. I'd also like to thank the HO Hall of Fame Committee, the DeWitt Central Education Foundation, Central DeWitt Music Boosters, and Sabre Athletic Boosters, and congratulate the other inductees in tonight's ceremony. And I'd also like to thank the DeWitt and Central Community High School community. I heard other recipients make comment about the support of our community in DeWitt, and that was one of my fondest memories that I still have today about in such a small town, how great support we have for all of our students and all of our athletes who attended DeWitt schools. My high school experience was exceptional, from teachers to administrators to my teammates and all the sports that I participated in. And I'll never forget where my roots are and where I was raised, because it means so much to me and my family today. In terms of the mile medley relay team, I can't say enough about my teammates. They're longtime friends. We're a close-knit group. We were raised and grew up in DeWitt. We ran around town in DeWitt as we grew up, and we still do that today. And this is 49 years later, after we set the record our senior year in high school. I'm honored and to be a part of this group with them. The thing about the relays is I like relays because, especially if you had the type of teammates that I had, they were dependable, they excelled, we all excelled, knowing that we had each other's back during relays and competition. And I just can't say enough about the relationships that we had back then and continue to exist today. In fact, when I got married, both Wade and Roger were in my wedding, and we continue to hang out with each other as we speak today. I'm going to tell one little story, and then I know maybe Roger and Wade might get up and tell another one. But our track coach was Coach Harold Burney, and he was old school, definitely old school. But I always thought Sundays were sacred days of the week. But I remember back our senior year, it was prior to the Drake relays, we had stayed overnight at Roger's house, and his mom, Doris Gertis, made us Maid-Brides and Rice Krispie bars and all that. And we had just gotten done eating all of that, a whole pan of Rice Krispie bars with probably 2 hamburgers, Maid-Brides apiece. And Roger gets a call from Coach Burney, and he said, "Hey, round up your mile medley team. I want you up at the high school track in 1 hour. Clinton is coming to town, and they want to run a practice race with you." And I thought, oh, great, wonderful. So we all went to the track. We did run our medley against Clinton. We ended up beating them, which I don't think was a big surprise. But then after that, I thought I was all done running for the day. And then DeWitt had a pretty good miler at the time, and their coach brought him down the same day and wanted to run the mile against me. And So I did, and that worked out fine too. But after all that food, it wasn't the greatest time to run. But we ended up doing okay. But that's Coach Birdie. Anytime he said something, we would jump at the chance to be there and represent him. He was a great coach. I have a lot of great fond memories of him and all of that. The other thing that I would like to do, I'm going to do a little participation out there with several people, and you may be embarrassed, but don't be embarrassed. I want to acknowledge our Mile Medley wife team. First of all, Patricia Garcia Neiman is Wade Neiman's wife. Mary Jean Monroe Gertis is Roger's wife, and my wife is Maureen Moeller. And this year, our record has stood for 49 years, and I just want to go on and acknowledge my wife a little bit more. But 49 years ago, also in 1994, the fall, probably to this day or a couple weeks from now, she was crowned the Central Community High School homecoming queen. And I asked her what she was looking forward to coming to this event this weekend, and the biggest thing that she said was that I can't wait for the crowning of the homecoming queen on Friday night. So that speaks for itself. Also, in terms of 49 years, my wife and I have been together that long, and I owe her all of my success that I had towards the end of high school and all of college and beyond, because we were married at a very young age. She was the rock of our family. She did it all, and if I got out of the path a little bit, sometimes I still think that I want to be 16, 17, or 18 years old and sometimes behave that way, and she's the one that kind of brings me back into line and reminds me that I'm 67 years old and not 17 or 18. But she's been there for me throughout everything that I've done, in college, in my career, through education, and I just can't thank her enough. She's the one that motivated me to keep going, keep doing what I've done, and improve myself as a person in life, and it's all paid off because now we're enjoying ourselves in retirement. The other thing I would like to add too, before I turn it over to Roger or Wade, is that one of the things that we heard is that the community in DeWitt really supports all their students and athletes. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my in-laws, Jim and Marita Burke, who are 94 and 92, and they still attend activities here at Central Community High School and throughout the district. And whether you're young, a young family, growing up, whatever, that support is always here, and I'll never, ever forget how strong DeWitt community is. And with that, I want to thank you for coming tonight. I know it's been a long ceremony, and I'm just kind of rambling on now. But with that, I think Roger might have a story that he wants to tell. And again, thank you all for attending, and thank you.
I just have a few quick things. If you look in your program, and there is a picture of the four of us. We don't, we had longer hair. But I just want to make the point, you can see three of us are kind of smiling. I'm really smiling, Jenny's got a smirk, and Wade's smiling a bit, but Joel's not happy on the far right. He's not happy. There's a reason for this. We just got done winning the state championship race. So the three of us, our races were over. Joel still had to run the mile, which he won, by the way, in a round. But anyway, so he wasn't happy. The second thing is not so much a story, is a confession. Tim, when he was talking, mentioned that in the great relays, our senior years, we got disqualified in the finals. We got disqualified. Well, I was disqualified. It was me. I'll let that out right now. I was disqualified for running out of my lane. I ran the first leg of the 220, so we went up the curve. and got disqualified for running the lane. Evidently, you can't do that, so we got disqualified. And, I always thought, the shortest path between two poles was a straight line, so in order on the curve, I just took 2 edges off. But anyway, we got disqualified. But the worst part of it was, we were disqualified. I don't think we knew until the race was over. So those 3 guys had to run all their legs, so they ran the 220, the 440, and then the half. And then at the end, they found out that we got disqualified, so they weren't real happy, but they did finally forgive me. We had a good season after. Anyway, that's all I have, and thank you very much.
Go off script. It's okay, Coach, for just 2 statements.
You want to get to the end of the sophomore game if you want to see the crowning of the homecoming queen, because that's between the games. That will not be at that time. So just don't want anybody to get in trouble. And just one thing I noticed was every single person up here thanked the community. That cannot be a coincidence. We'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee, the Athletic Boosters, the Music Boosters, and the Central Community Education Foundation for their diligent work and contributions to tonight's ceremony. Join us in the atrium for some refreshments. Give me 5 minutes to get that ready. And thank you for making this a continued success. Hall of Fame.
Well, I went down to rescue him. That's what I thought the story. He told me that he said, "Dennis, fall in love with you, coach." He said, "I don't know about that one." And he went, well, we were both kind of intense. He said he was good man. He was a good boy. With me, we were both bad guys.
Hey, thanks. Nice to see you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn what's going on. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And I'm trying to get stuff coming out of the learning. I don't know. On Monday we do a research at the foundation and the level 3 at Scott Dragon. And the pharmacy was there to some couple of real young girls. And then the girls said,
I'm telling you, if he gets on 2 weeks ago, somebody came. Old gentleman. That was me.
oh yeah, well, it's all right. At least you said no.
Down from,
Who lives with you?
Lancaster.
Okay. I had some people that brought the mosque.
Oh,
Their name is
We saw you earlier. Got the word out. And then today, my friend, and all going to we had like was that last fall?